Hello, everyone. Happy Sunday. I hope everyone is doing well today. Uh, what announcements do I have? First of all, thank you to David for upgrading to Windmill. So thank you. I hope you enjoy your voting privileges because we do start with the most voted on puzzle. Somehow today, the most voted on puzzle is a Niverio puzzle, which means that there's been a Niverio puzzle in the bucket for who knows how long, and I just missed that it was there. So there's that, but we'll do that. Also, last stream on Friday, I did a setting stream. Okay, so this is not like an ancient puzzle in the bucket that somehow I just have scanned through the bucket and missed for since time immemorial. But anyway, on Friday there was a setting stream, and we set a 10 lines J Dyer deconstruction. It was a lot of fun. The puzzle's now been tested, so I'll probably be posting it on LMD later. So if you were not part of the stream and you want to do the puzzle, it'll be posted to LMD shortly. The stream was a very good time. It went overall well. Testing feedback so far has been positive. I am going to have words. I will probably ask Tristan to post that VOD as a video if you're interested, but you can also just go back and watch the VOD of us all setting that together. So I will be posting that soon. And Tristan is going to do it on Tuesday's stream. Excellent. So Tristan can enjoy the Yazi experience, as the puzzle happened to be called. All right. But yeah, anyway, so that is an idea with a long and storied history, because I first sort of had the idea, I don't know, years ago, and talked to Memerister about it, but couldn't quite ever figure out how to make it work, and then eventually made it work, and then we spent a long time trying to make different versions of what the grid might look like. So we'll see whether Tristan does the pretty version or the clear version. So there was some debate there about which would be nicer. Yes, as Casey says, please do like the stream if you have not yet liked the stream. It is greatly appreciated. Okay, anyway, so I should probably get to the puzzle. This puzzle, I should say, was voted on by David, Plonktime, Russ, Ambrose, Luda, Doomdiot, the Cogito, Nordy, and Niverio. So thank you all for your support. This is the first time in a while where this is not a tie. This was the unique most voted on puzzle by supporters. If you do support at the windmill level or above, you get to vote on what puzzle we start with. So by all means, consider doing that if you have the funds, like the stream, and would like to decide what sorts of things we start with. It is greatly appreciated. Thank you all. Let us read the rules. So we have normal rules. Good. Quadruples. These are normal quadruples, I believe. The normal quadruple rules even actually say that if a digit appears what happens if a digit appears more than once in a circle, and there aren't any circles that do that. This is actually, as a designer of puzzles, this is something I always think about, is if my puzzle does not involve the rules for quadruples that say, that if this were a 7-7 quadruple, you'd need 2 7s, do you list it in the rules, yes or no? And it's tricky because on the one hand, it's not relevant for this puzzle. So if it were only this puzzle that mattered, then you would not. However, if your goal is to say, okay, well, maybe someone's never seen quadruples, but now they're going to learn what quadruples are and they're going to see them again in the future, it's probably better if you say all the rules. So it's always a bit tricky. For example, do I say that digits can't repeat on Nabner lines if it's a puzzle where all the Nabner lines obviously can't have that be the case, et cetera, et cetera. All these, digits repeating in killer cages, I guess would be another good example, et cetera, et cetera. Anyway, we also have double-decker sandwiches. In this puzzle, the digits 1, 5, and 9 are crusts. An outside clue gives the sum of the digits sandwiched between the two closest crusts to the clue in its row or column. Okay, so 1, 5, and 9 are never parts of sums in this puzzle. And so we have We have this. Yeah. Yeah, you definitely will see both, David. By the way, welcome, David. Yeah, you'll sometimes see people say it and sometimes see people not say it. And I don't have a strong sense as to which is correct. I'm sure I've done both in the past. Okay, so that's very interesting. Okay, so my first question is, does there need to be a 9 in these 3 cells? Because if there's no 9 in these 3 cells, I would need my 22 clue to be at most 3 cells long, and 876, if you look at it, is not enough. 876 is only 21. So the upshot of that is that I do need a 9 here. So the reason for this is because 1, 5, and 9 are my crusts, and the 1 and 5 are not here. And so if there were no 9 here, then the first crust would be at best here. Remember, there's 3 crusts, so I'd get at most 3 cells, and that doesn't work. So one of these is a 9. But as chat points out, by exactly the same logic, one of these 3 is a 9. But if that's going to be the case, that means this cell exactly is a 9. And we get our first digit dance courtesy of Zachary. Ba-boop-a-doop. Woo! Ba-doop-a-doop. Wah! Ba-doop-a-doop. Wee! Ba-doop-a-doop. Thank you, Zach. Thank you. Let us now delete these. And we know, again, it is a minimum of 4 digits to make this sum. So we know these aren't. And so that means that these are both crusts because we need crusts. We get 1, 5 pairs at the end. And in this case, we actually know the order because of this 1 quadruple. Here, these are just a 1, 5 pair. And I know the sum of these 2 digits if I do a little bit of math. So these sum to 45 plus, these sum to 15 plus 22 is 37, which means these 2 sum to 8. So they have to be 2, 6 because I can't use the 1 or the 5. These sum to 15 plus 23 is 38, which means these 2 sum to 7, so they have to be 3, 4 because they don't use the 1 and the 5. So they can't be 1, 6 or 2, 5. So we've got all of that. This is very generous. We know there's a 5 in one of these 2 cells because of this quadruple. I feel like I'm being lulled into a false sense of security here, if I'm being honest. Okay, so these 2 can't be crust because I can't get a sum of 15. Even though this looks like a 15, it's not actually a 15. Also, while I'm at it, I should also mark that there's a 1 and a 5 here because I need to put a 1 and a 5 in row 7. Z-wing logic, as Sayori says, because we know there's a 1 in one of these and a 1 in one of these, so there's got to be a 1 here, and likewise with 5s. But these 2 are assuredly not crust. And 15 certainly requires at least 2 cells, so those aren't crust either. Okay, so we've got that. Okay. Let's see. Okay, that 1, 1 is good. Okay, so this sandwich, this is Jay Dyer's point in column 7. This 4 sandwich is 1 cell long. So this absolutely can't be crust, because if this were crust, I would have to go crust for crust, but I only have 1 crust that I could possibly put in this column. I think this would be okay, if only just. Okay. Can my 15 clue, is that allowed to be 4 cells long? I don't see why it can't be 4 cells long. Oh, I see. Sorry, Jay Dyer pointed out this thing. The 1 and the 5 over here that I pointed out over down in rows 8 and 9, it's also true here. Uh, and again, just to say that what's really happening here is when you spot that I know there's a 1 here and there's a 1 here, what that's really saying is, well, I know the 1 in column 7 is forced here, and likewise, I know there's a 5 in one of these two, so that forces the 5 over here. And I know one of these two is a 5 as well, for what it's worth. So we've got all of that. Now, let us see here. Okay, so we can do the same thing with this for clue as well. So if this were a crust, then it would have to go crust for crust, and that's not going to work. So that is not a crust, because that would put 4 crusts in the box is the problem. Okay, and this can't be a crust either because of the 4 in column 7. Because if this is crust, it would have to go crust for crust, and that would break the 4 in this column, which has to be between 2 crusts. So that's not a crust either. So we've got that. Okay, so Sayori's pointing out if I put a crust here, then I'm obligated to make a 2-cell 10 sum or more, but I can't because of the 2 crusts here. So that's actually very clever. Just to show you that if this were a crust, now the best I can do is that those 2 are crusts, and I can't make this cell sum to 10. So that doesn't work. So this is not a crust either. So now this can't be a crust because, again, we know the pattern. Wait, sorry, that might not be true. Sorry, I was going to say something wrong. Because it could be crust here still. Sorry, there's 3 crusts. My brain is used to there being 2 crusts. Right. Okay, so DWeb has it. The point is, now I need the 9 to live over here. If the 9 doesn't live over here, then I'm obligated to sort of, again, make a 1-cell 10 sum. So the 9 does have to live here. Otherwise, I can't make it to a sum of 10, which does tell me that is not crust again. And so now I am obligated to do this arrangement because I need these 2 crusts here in this column. And the only way that I can actually get a sum of 4 is to do that, which now means there's a 9 up here, which now means these aren't crusts either. For what it is worth. Okay, and so now I know that these are crusts because of row 5, and so that's the 9. This is a 1 or a 5. And now that, by my corner marks, places the 9 down here. Makes that not a crust, because again, it can't be a 1, 5, or 9. In this column, the last crust is a 5, so these aren't crusts. Oh, also, all 3 crusts are in the box, so those aren't crusts either. So we've got that. Okay, now this is the end of the 21 sandwich. So a 21 sandwich is at least 3 cells, so we can gray both of those for what that is worth. So yeah, so one of these is a crust. I don't know which one yet. Okay. So yeah, there's many clues going on, I am sure, that I can look at. I know one of these 2 is a 5. Let's see. I could fill in this quadruple. Should I fill in this quadruple? I don't know. I'm not eager to fill in the quadruple yet. Let's see. Because the question is, can this be a 5? 4 cells without 1 or 5 would be 2, 3, 4, 6 would be the minimum. 2, 3, 4, 6 would be exactly 15, actually. Funnily enough. Oh, yes. 9 in row 9 by Sudoku. Thank you, Jay. That is very good. So 9 has to go in a gray cell. So it goes in one of those. And so these are both gray also, because these see 1 and 5 in the box and 9 in the row. And one of these two is a 9. That's gray because of the 6 clue. These are gray because the 1, 5 are up there. And so that's a 9. And so either this is a 6 or these are a 2, 4 sum, and that's that. Is that an Otagon problem? That might be an Otagon problem. Not sure. The 10 sum in row 7. Got it. Okay, so the Emma said it cleanly, which is this 10 sum, it can't be 4 cells because that would be 1, 2, 3, 4 and would use the 1. But it also can't be 3 cells because the only way to do 3 cells as a 10 sum is either to use a 1 or be 2, 3, 5. But I can't use the 1 or the 5. So therefore, that's definitely a crust, which is a very clever way to do that. So all of that is done, and that makes that a 6. This is a 1 or a 5. And so these are a 7-8 pair by the 7-8 quad. That makes this 2 or 3, just to make those sum to 10. So we've got that. Aha, now this 5 quad actually does stuff. So that is 5, 1. Let's see. Let's see. We do have right. This 15 sandwich is now definitely 7-8 because it's 2 cells. Let's see. So this is, if that were crust, this would be 6, 7, 8, but I don't see anything wrong with that yet. I maybe should fill in these. I'm a little reluctant to fill them in. But what are you going to do? Okay. Okay, so DWeb is asking, is it possible that this is the crust? Because if this is the crust, then what would we have? We would have 15 from the crusts plus 21 is 36 plus 4 is 40. So if the crust were here, this would be a 5 is DWeb's point, and that doesn't work. So so that is in fact the crust. And these are 6, 7, 8. That is a 1 or a 5. Which actually gives us a 6, 7, 8 triple for what it's worth, which means that's not a 6 because the 6 in this triple is up here, is what we have seen. So that does make these 2 cells 2, 3 for what it is worth. Sure. Let's see. Right. This 7-8 quad now, because of the 6, 7, 8 triple, I can't put a 7, 8 there. So now these are a 7, 8 pair. And now that 7, 8 pair actually gives me a 6 in the column. And now I am going to fill in this pair because now this pair is a 3, 4 pair. Why not? What? Was I wrong? I don't think I was wrong. Okay. Because there's a 7, 8 pair in the box, Jay, or a 6, 7, 8 triple in the box. I know one of these two is a 5 for what it is worth. This 3 quad. Okay, this 3 quad definitely tells me that that's a 4. Thank you, Sayori. So that's a 4 and that's a 3, which makes that a 2 and that a 3, which means there's a 3 up here, which makes that a 2, and means there's a 3 down here. Thank you, honey, but I think I'm good. Good luck. Enjoy the nice weather outside. Right. This is an 8 because these two sum to 10. Thank you. Okay. Yeah, one of these is a 5. Okay, I probably should think about like something like this 9 sandwich. So like that can't possibly be a crust anymore. Because if this is a crust, then it doesn't sum to 9 if I put a crust here, and it doesn't sum to 9 if I put a crust there. So this just can't be a crust anymore. And I can't not make this a crust now, because if this is not a crust, it would make all of those crusts, and 6 and 9 are different numbers. So that is a crust, and that's a crust is actually what has to happen, because now if this isn't a crust, now the sum is way too big. So we get all of that. And so this can't be 8 and 1, so it has to be 7 and 2, which makes that an 8 through the virtue of the quad. 7, 6, 2. That has become an 8 and a 7 and a 7 and an 8. Let's see. Do I know anything about what digits these are? Maybe not yet. Okay. Now, actually, the 4 sandwich up here is actually forced because, remember, it has to be crust for crust. Those two crusts have to go here and here. Now, so that is a 9. That's a 4. That's not a 9. These are a 1, 5 pair. These aren't crusts. So these are a 1, 5 pair. Let's see. So that's a 1, 5 pair in this column. Oh, this is a 9 just by virtue of the fact that there's nowhere else for a 9 in this box slash row slash whatever, whatever. People would like me to use the 5 quad. This 5 quad, saying one of these two is a 5. I agree that one of those two is a 5. Let's see. We've got... right, because it looks up at that. I see 1 and 5. And so now that's a 9 because it sees 1 and 5. Got it. Okay. So that is not 5. That is not a 1. Okay, it has been used. I don't know how it feels about that, though. Okay. One of those two is a 7. Okay, so Jay's point is I know there's a 3 in one of these two cells, and if there's a 3 in one of these two cells, that makes these a 1, 3, 5. And so therefore this is a pair. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 is what they are. And I know that that one is the 7 because of the 7 quad. Like that. Sayori would like me to mark in these, which are a 2 and a 4, and I actually know the order of the 2 and the 4. This is a 3 or a 5, and it's not a 3 by Sudoku, so that's the 5 and that's the 3. And so that is all good. Yellow, 1, 5, 5, 1, 5. These are both gray. Going on over there like that. That's a 2 by Sudoku because of this 2 placing it. These are a 3 and a 4 in that order, if I did my Sudoku correctly. There is a 6. That is an 8 and a 3 because we had a 3-4 pair over here, which has made that a 3 up there. I think probably it's mark time, but I'm going to finish the crusts first because this is not a crust. It sees 1, 5, and 9. Actually, maybe I don't know which of the... Oh, this is a crust because there's still got to be a crust in the row. So there is that. So I at least get all of that for crustitude. Okay, we can mark the rest of the grid, and then probably the rest of it will fill itself in. 7, 6, 8, 7, 2, 4, 8, 2, 4, 3, 4, 2, 3. These are the 9s that I am missing. So these are gray. That is a 3 and a 6. That is a 5. And that's a 1. And those are my last 2 crusts. So there we go. 7, 4, 1, 5, 9, 8, 6, and 9. Beautiful, Niverio. That was nice and smooth. Especially given that the secret is that this puzzle was made for a 60-minute speed setting competition. That was a really nice accomplishment for such a short setting time. I am definitely impressed. And I enjoyed that quite a bit. Nice little... this is listed as 3 stars? The pace there... The pace there felt more like a 2-star puzzle to me, but it was a very nice puzzle. Alrighty. 90, but you were done in 70. Okay, that's fair. All right, I'm going to take a quick break, and I'll be back shortly with another puzzle. So see you all in just a moment. Welcome back. Continue on the list of solving uh, puzzles of my past. Uh, this is sort of a scary combination, but for me, I only hazily recall that someone asked me at some point to set a lockout lines puzzle. So I set a lockout lines puzzle. Uh, Sort of you can see my love of like puzzles where there's just one giant line everywhere. Although this one doesn't quite have one giant line because it has this over here. So yeah, so we have an irregular lockout lines puzzle. I don't think this is on LMD. I think this was in some sort of pack that was released at some point. I think Riff Clown asked me to make this, if I recall correctly. And given that it's a lockout lines puzzle, that seems likely. Irregular, not even once yet. I have not set very many irregular puzzles. We will see. Okay, so how do lockout lines work? Welcome, pause, by the way. How do lockout lines work? They're reverse between lines. So if I make this a 1 and this a 7, what I'm saying is none of the digits on here can be between 1 and 7. But also, we know that words. Also, we know that the two diamonds have to differ by at least 4 in a 9 by 9. Yeah, I assume I would not normally write normal lockout line rules apply. I think that was because of whatever pack this was for. It was going to be like puzzle number 73 in a list of puzzles with lockout lines. So first things first, I guess we get to do our irregular tricks and ask where this digit goes in the upside down U. Because a digit can't repeat on the lockout line, can't repeat there, and this would repeat on a different lockout line. So we can at least do that that's yellow and that's green. And now, assuredly, we know that these numbers... okay, so I think this is sort of like the... Oh, it's not... What's the maximum number of different numbers you can put on a lockout line? That's the question. So if I make these 1 and 5, the digits that can go on the lockout line are 6, 7, 8, 9. So 4 is the maximum number of digits that can be on a lockout line. So so there are 4 different digits on this lockout line because these are all in a region. So that means one of these two is definitely an 8. Also, these numbers are certainly less than 8. And they differ by at least 4, so they're certainly not A4 at the very least. So these are either 1 and 5, 2 and 6, or 1 and 5, 2 and 6, or 3 and 7. Yeah, they differ by 4. Yep. Okay. So these, I guess, are the 3 numbers between green and yellow, right? These 3 numbers actually sit strictly between green and yellow, because we know there are 3 numbers strictly between green and yellow. Yeah, and green and yellow differ by exactly 4. Yeah, there must be a 9 on the line. I agree with that, because 9 assuredly is there. Ooh, new quilt ELSF? That's nice. Made it a hidden between line puzzle, right? And secretly, this is just a between line between those two. Okay, so yeah, so these differ by exactly 4. And then we've got the fact that green is on the line with yellow, chat is pointing out, is interesting. Yeah, I have to think about what this means. So which is further in the direction than the other? So if I keep going in the direction, okay, so right, so so if I think about my number line, I'm just gonna make this blue because it's not green or yellow. Uh, if I think about my number line, where do green, yellow, and blue sit on the number line? That is the question. Uh, blue is where does blue sit relative to yellow and green? That is my question. Uh, so if I just say yellow and then green, is blue is blue between yellow and green? No, blue. Sorry. No, blue can't be between yellow and green because if blue is between yellow and green, we break the lockout lines rules because yellow and green are as close to each other as they can be by lockout rules. We know they're 4 apart. And blue's certainly not more extreme in the yellow. No, blue is more extreme in the yellow direction, right? Blue has to go in the yellow direction, not in the green direction, because if blue was over here, green couldn't go on the line. So actually, if I just put these numbers in order, it goes blue, then yellow, then green. Yeah, so we have that order, right? And now chat says, so that means yellow is 5. Right. So they have to be 159. That's the point, right? Because that means I've gone at least 4 and then at least 4 more. And so that means they have to be 159 because I've gone a minimum of 8 as I've gone between these. So that means that green is 1, yellow is 5, and blue is 9 because of that. Okay, got there. We got there. Okay, so now I'll do the 5 dance. Ba-doop-ba-doop. Woo! Ba-doop-ba-doop. Wah! Ba-doop-ba-doop. Wee! Thank you, Zach. Although Jay Dyer says that yellow is 5 by Dutch Whisper's logic, which is funnily enough exactly right because what you do have a weirdly kind of a Dutch whisper between diamonds on a lockout line actually, and so what we knew is here it did not change direction. So that's a 1 and that's a 5. I think we can lose these colors for now. And so these we know are 6, 7, 8, 9. Those aren't 8. I don't think I need the 9 corner marks anymore. These are 2, 3, 4 now. So I at least know these are 6, 7, 8, 9. That seems worth marking just for our amusement. These are from 2, 3, 4 as well. Oh, sorry, 1, 2, 3, 4. These could include a 1. 1 is fine. I can put on row column labels, by the way. Probably a good idea. Okay, so there's 3 different digits on here. So the fact that there's 3 different digits on here, these could be say 1, 2, 3. That means this digit's at least 4. Just by virtue of the fact that I need there to be digits left after I lock out everything between 9 and this digit. So this digit needs to be at least 4, but it's at most 5. If you just look at the fact that I need to fit 3 different digits on here. So it needs to be at least 4 and at most 5 because of the lockout rule, but then it can't be 5. So this number just is a 4. Okay, and so this number up here, it needs to be an 8 or a 9, but it can't be a 9 because that would break this. Bye now. Because if this is a 9, there's no value that works here. So in fact, this is an 8, which means this is a 9. No 9s over there. And this line is 1, 2, 3, right? Correct. Like that. That's getting me close to having all of these digits in here for what it's worth. These numbers are all from 1, 2, 3, 9. Sorry, not that one. 2, 3, 9, and that one's not 9. Okay, so now going at least 4 away from 8 means that this number is also at most 4. So this is from 2, 3, 4. 2 is assuredly not possible, because if this is 2, then these would be a 1-9 pair or a 1-9 triple. So this can't be a 2. These are assuredly from 1, 2, 3, 9 at worst, just to sort of fill in what things they could be. And this is also from 1, 2, 3, 9, by the way. Which is interesting for the column, because we're getting lots of very restricted digits here. So that is interesting. Okay, this number needs to be at least 7, just because it needs to be at least 4 from this. So this is a 7 or a 9 only. Just to sort of continue with my diamondy math. Row 5, 6, column 7. What? 7 makes a quad with column 7 and row 8, column 8. Right. These are... Got it. Okay, so there can't be any repeats in these 4 digits, is what chat is saying. Because these 3 see each other by region, and then they all see that one. So these are a quadruple, which means there really is a 4 in one of these 2 cells. For whatever that is worth. It doesn't feel like a lot to me at the moment. Yeah, and this is the digit that joins the 4, correct? Because this digit has to be up there. So that means these aren't a 1, or there is no 1 here. So these are from 2, 3, 4. Okay, there we go. Joao has a nice thing to see, which is that 9 in column 9 is over here somewhere. And the fact that 9 in column 9 is over here somewhere means it's not there. There we go. That's the point. Okay, so now we've got our honest quadruple here. And so this digit is the same as that digit. Right. And this digit, David points out, sees the whole quadruple. It sees all the yellow digits and 5. So this is 6, 7, 8, 9 for sure. I mean, actually, I guess I know everything else in this column is from 6, 7, 8, 9, actually, because I've got that now. For whatever that is worth. I might as well mark that I know there's a 4 in one of these 2 cells. Just by Sudoku. Let's see. Row 3, column 7 being 8 breaks column 9. Right. In other words, what Paul Fly is saying is that I can corner mark 8 in one of these two cells, which means that cell's definitely not an 8. So one of these two is an 8, just for purposes of what is happening here. Ketchup is certainly vertical in this region, which means whatever this is, it's not ketchup. Okay. Right. There's yeah, 8 is in one of these two cells by pure Sudoku. Points out DWeb. Because of the given 8 doing work, which means the 8 in row 1 is up here somewhere, for whatever it is worth. And so that means this digit is not an 8. And so Sayori points out that gives us a 6-7 pair, which actually places an 8 here of all things. Very strange geometry. Let's see. And so now 8 in column 1, right? So now that 8 being in this region now means the 8 in column 1 actually has to be there because it can't repeat over here. Actually gets us that 8, which now means this assuredly is not a 9. Because if this is a 9, then 8 can't go on the line. So this is actually a 7, which now means this can't be a 4, because those aren't far enough apart, which now means that's a 3, which now makes that a 6 and a 7. And now once that is a 3, then we, of course, can't have 3 anywhere on the line. This is an honest 129 triple, so that makes that actually a 6 and a 7. Still not 3. 7 is just placed here in the sailboat by Sudoku. So 7 is in one of these two cells of the upside down cross thing. Maybe it was for a CTC pack? I don't know. This is ancient history enough that if it was for a CTC pack, I don't remember. But it was for a pack, but I don't remember if it was a pack for CTC or if it was just a pack for fun. Let's see. Okay. Yeah, if there was a CTC Lockout Lines pack, this presumably was for that. Is this cell very restricted? Can't be 1, could be 2, 3, can't be 4, 5, 6, 7, or 8. It could be 9 are the only options for what this cell can be. That is interesting. And this other cell can't be 1, 2, 3. Could be 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. No, not 8. Sorry. This could be 4, 5, 6, 7. Let's see. 3, 7, I guess, would just work. This might have been during the phase where I would put a goofy law of leftovers deduction into one of my puzzles. I'm not sure, honestly. Let's see. There's certainly a 6 up here somewhere. For whatever that is worth. Let's see. Bifurcating the heck out of it. 8 in row 8. Okay, 8 in row 8 is not there. It's not in there. Ah, yes, very good. 8 in row 8 is here. Good spot, Todd. Okay, so now I might as well just fill in this quadruple because these are 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, right? Or 4, 5, 6, 7. And that one's not a 5. This one's not a 6 or a 7 for what it's worth. 7 in the bottom left region. Yeah, 7 in the bottom left region is in one of these two cells. which does create a z-wing with these. So that rules 7 out of these 2 cells, I guess is the point. So so I've spoken for the 2 7s here in these 2 rows. So those 2 aren't 7. And of course, those aren't 7, and I should actually delete the 7 from this. So the 7 in this box is, I guess, in one of those 3 spots. Uh, let's see. 7 in the column goes in one of these 2, I think, from what chat is telling me. 3 is placed in column 5. Right, one of these 2 is 3. Is a good thing for that DWeb points out. So now there's no 3 in any of these cells, and so therefore that's a 3. Good. I do have a z-wing on 9s, I suppose, here for whatever that is worth, but I don't think it does anything. Yep, 3 in column 5. Yeah, nice spot to Ambrose there. Yeah, sorry, DWeb. DWeb repeated it nicely. Let's see. 6 is in column 5. Okay, so 6 in column 5 is not here, points out Martin. So therefore 6 is in the cross vertically. So 6 is not in the cross horizontally. Oops, I hit too many buttons. But now that gives us a 4, 5, 7 triple and places the 6 here. To the extent that I recall anything about this puzzle at all, this kind of silly the this and the this and the this or this and this is the kind of thing that I had intended with this puzzle. Okay, so now 6 in this hook is placed because the 6 now has to go here. So yeah, row 3, column 5 isn't ketchup. That's true. So one of these 2 is ketchup. So one of these 2 is ketchup, I suppose. 6 in column 4 is placed now. That sounds very believable. So it can't be there because it's already in the region. Can't be there or there or there. Well, it's certainly in one of these 2 cells, I suppose. So it's not in either of these 2 cells. Okay, so those are from 7, 8, 9. These are only from 4, 5, 8, right? Because there's a 4 or 5 vertically, and that 4 or 5 vertically in this region joins the 8. So these are only from 4, 5, 8. And that one's not 5 for what it is worth. Probably not very much, honestly, but hey, if I can mark a cell with 3 values, I'll be a happy Zeta, I suppose. I do know, actually, that the 1 in this hook is vertical, just by Sudoku. Which means this is not a 1. Well, that's not a 1, and this isn't a 1 either. And also means that the 1 in this region is over here. So one of these 2 is a 1. It means these aren't 1. It means the 1 is up here somewhere for what it is worth. It's not there. Not there. So we're close to sort of being able to chase the 1, but not quite able to chase the 1 just yet. let's see. Oh, it's not in column 8 because I already have a 1 right there, of course. Oh, did I just force 1 to be red circle? Right. I put a 1 there. So actually, so 1 is red circle. Good. So we've got that. Oops. Like that. So now those are 2, 3, 4. I can just omit yellow from the triple now, I believe. Probably I just don't need yellow at all now. So now these are a 2, 3 pair. And so now we can ask where 2 is in column 5. And so 2 in column 5 is in one of these two spaces, but it can't be here because there's a 1, 2, 9 triple. So in fact, that is 2, 9, 1. Good spot to Sayori. 7, 8. Seems to give me an 8 over there. Seems to give me a 7 over here. So we can get rid of that. No 6s, no 8, no 8, no 2. So this is the other 4, 5. I can get rid of the red circles that indicate that these two 1s are both 1s, probably. Okay, do we have all the 1s now? Not quite. Got a handful of 1s left to place. I guess I know that one of these two is a 1 now, though. So that rules 1 out of all of these. So that means that one of these two is a 1 now. Oh, 4 in column... Oh, yeah, 4 in column 8 is a great spot because that 4... Oh, wait, do I know it's not there? Yes, I do know it's not there because of that. Great spot to Ambrose. So that is a 4. Hey, Chef of Death, how are you doing? Okay. Oops. Just randomly hit a button. Row 7, column 5 is a naked single. That sounds good. Okay, so it's not 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it could be 6, but it's not 7, 8, or 9. So this is a naked single 6. Good spot. So let's see. 8, 7. Yeah, we've got a lot of 8s. We've got 2 8s left to place. Right, which go, I suppose, in this little thing is the other place where there's an 8. Let's see. 4. I wish I knew this wasn't a 4. Or that I knew it was a 4. What's left in this row, I guess, is a good question. So 4 and 5 and what? And 2, right? It didn't really help a lot. I'll be honest. Okay. And a 2, 3, 4 thing happening over here. I guess I can fill in this column. It's a 4, a 5, and a what else is missing in this column? A 1? Yeah, this are 1, 4, 5 is what is missing in this column. Let's see. Okay. Oh, this can't be 7 because there's no lockout line that would let it be a 7. Yeah, there's no possible combination that would let this be a 7. Right. So that is a good spot. So yeah, I would need two things less than 7 in order to make this a 7, and there aren't two such things that can go in the circles that meet the rules of lockout lines. So no 7 there, no 7 there, no 7 there. Mean that we've got a 7 in one of these two cells. And so then where is the 7 in row 7? Asks Paul Fly. The 7 in row 7, therefore, is there. So these are 2, 3, 8, 9 now, just to finish off the row. It's not a 3. That one's not an 8. There's no universe where this is a 2. Oh, sorry. No, that's not true. Interesting. Okay, trying to think about if there's interplay between these three cells, and I because my intuition from between lines says that there's some sort of virtual pair here, but I think it's back. I think I'm backwards. I don't think it works that way at all in this case. Okay, so yeah, we can just write in what this is. So this can only be 1, 2, 8, 9, but it can't be 1 by the column or row, and can't be 8. So this is only 2 or 9. Let's see. Let's see. We've still got our 6, 9 pair here. Yeah, man, this being able to be 4 is such a pain. If there's a reason it can't be 4, I don't know what it is. So Jay Dyer's point is none of these cells can possibly ever be 3, because one of these two is 3 for row 7, and whichever one is 3, it sees those cells. So that means one of these two is definitely a 3. Which now, if you ask where that means 3 goes in here, it means 3 definitely goes in one of these cells. And so if you now ask where that means 3 goes in this region, it definitely goes there. And so now one of these two is a 3. Which is now going to force one of these to be a 3. But there's options there now, I think. Now 3 is placed. Yeah, 3 is placed in column 4. Let's see. This is only 3 or 5. This checks out. Thank you, Laura. Should I mark this cell? Is there anything interesting going on here? It can be like anything at once. I mean, I suppose technically this can never be a 5. Is that interesting? I don't think it can be a 4 either, actually, but I don't know that. Oh, no, it could be a 4 if that's a 9, 5. So yeah, I'm not super enthusiastic about that. Okay. So Martin's point is this digit has to go in this region, and It can't go in any of those cells. It's not a 7, and it's not a 4 or an 8. So it is the same as this cell. So in particular, it's not a 1. So in particular, that is a 1, which then means that's a 1, which then means that's a 1, which then means that's a 1. That was a great spot. So into these two are the same digit, whatever that happens to be. We can just ask. It seems to be 2, 3, or 6. Let's see. So now that this is a 1, that tells us literally nothing about this line, I think, because every possible combination of this line could have a 1 on it. Red circle in the top right region has to go here, right? Okay, so red circle is there because it's not 1, and so that means red circle is not 3 either. So this is a 2 or a 6. I think the closest thing you're ever going to get to a zetamath pack is elements of Sudoku and vignettes. And you'll probably continue on a roughly 18 monthly basis to get another set of 6x6s that are linked in some interesting way. But given how long the average puzzle takes me to make, I'm not going to make a pack and then not publish it in a place where anyone can see it. 5 and column 6. Let's see. One of these two is the 5 in column 6, but it's not that one. There we go. Yep. Nice. So there we go. So it is true. MicroStudy has made some very cool zetamath packs. So the Zeta Rewind pack. It's going to be a very short one for 2024 if I don't make more puzzles. That is also a 6 because that's how red circles work. Yeah, I should actually at some point do my stream where I actually list my 2023 puzzles of the year. That would be a good idea. Great end of the year content. Okay, those are a 4-7 pair, so that's a 5. Okay, and I think I can now probably mark and probably just hunt for naked singles. 3, 4, 5. 5. That's a 2-5 pair, so that's a 3 and a 2. And a 3 and a 2 and a 3. 4 and 2. Let's see. Those are a 2-9 pair now, so that's a 5 and a 2 and a 5. That's a 2-9 pair, so that's a 4 and a 9. And a 2 and a 9. That's now a 2 and a 9 and a 2. 3, 8, 9, 8. And so now 4 is too close, so that's a 7. And 7 and 4. The beginning of that I thought was nice, and then it got a little bit grindy. This one definitely could have used a smoother ending, I feel like, but at least I was happy. I do not do irregular stuff very often at all, but I was happy with how much the irregular mattered, but then it bogged down at the end a bit, as irregular stuff oft does. But anyway, the next puzzle from my catalog, if I recall correctly, is a complete monster. So you can look forward to when we do the next one is a 159 between lines puzzle, which is, I think, quite monstrous, but we'll get there in a future time. Is there any good video on setting irregular? I saw Tirganis earlier. I feel like if there's a good video on setting irregular puzzles, it would be by Tirganis. Can we do antimatter too? It We should definitely that should be the next like group setting challenges. Antimatter 2 with all length 4 antimatter lines. That will make everyone very happy. Alrighty, I am going to take a quick break and come back and do more puzzles, as if you had not guessed. So I'll be back in just a moment. All right, welcome back, everyone. Dorlear coming back to Dorlear is a fan of lockout lines. I suppose I didn't say I don't actually like lockout lines very much. I think they're a little too gritty for my tastes. Uh, but as with anything, it's fun to play with even constraints that I don't think are very good every now and then. Uh, and like that was back like set before like lockout lines had their whole like day in the sun. So I did not like have an opinion on lockout lines at the time. Alrighty, so let us do this Kurobon J. Dyer deconstruction. So in this 11 by 11 grid, we're obligated to find. I should add, were lockout lines not actually part of antimatter? I'm surprised if they weren't. Maybe they were not. But anyway, we need to fit 9 3x3 regions. So the reason I have highlighted all of these green cells in the grid is because these cells have to be part of a 9 by 9 region by some sort of complicated geometric proof that you can maybe convince yourself of if you try and slide stuff around. Although there is a rigorous mathematical proof of it if you are so inclined. There's a really nice coloring argument that I like that I don't know, every fourth or fifth time I do this, I go through the sort of the rigorous argument that I like that these cells have to be included in something. But it involves coloring the grid in 9 colors. So I don't do it every time. It's actually really nice in the version with like 4x4 or sorry, with 2x2 regions, because then I can color it very easily and show that the thing is true. But anyway, we've got these. And so we basically just need to decide, does this slide this way or slide this way or whatever is basically the way that we'll do it. Cells along red lines are Renbon, so they need to contain a series of connected digits in any order. However, we're just going to ignore any cells that are not on the line. So normally this would be 4 consecutive digits in any order, but cells not in the Sudoku boxes, they're just going to get left completely blank. And so if a cell is left blank, well then, of course, it doesn't count for the Renbon. Cells containing digits with a black dot have to be in a 1-to-2 ratio, and so therefore must contain digits. So I can go ahead and green all of these cells if I like. And cells with little black arrows count the number of cells in the indicated direction that contain Sudoku cells, not including themselves. But presumably that means they also contain digits, I would guess. I'm going to assume that means they contain digits. So we will do that. Yeah, but then wouldn't it contain a 0? And cells that are outside of regions don't contain a 0? Oh, thank you, DDX. DDX has donated with 2 flowers. Thank you. Let's get you a donation dance, DDX. Woohoo! Woohoo! Thank you so much, DDX. Great to have you around as always. Thank you. So yeah, so some people in chat are debating whether this is really true. If there are no cells in the direction, can I just leave it blank? Let's just not assume that it needs to be filled in, and then we'll deal with it later. Now, as pointed out, this one definitely does, because in order to get to this cell, this one has to go this way. So I can actually start giving this a color. And Sayori would really, really, really like me to fill in that that's a 1 or 2 and that that's a 1, 2. So we've got that. So this is either 3, 6 or 4, 8, and it probably isn't 4, 8 because 4, 8 is too far apart on this black dot line. 4, 8 would need a 5, 6, 7 in between. So these are 3, 6, and these two are 4, 5, which means in particular they're green. And so so we know these two at least are in the same box. Don't know about these. It's always tricky to decide exactly how I want to color these, but anyway, these are definitely in the same box at least. So now this has to be in a box because it does point at least one cell. So now that's in a box for sure. And because the box went this way, that's in a box because boxes need to do box things. Which now means that these two are in the same box for sure, no matter how this works. This is blue or red, but I don't know which one yet. Okay, and so now this arrow is pointing at something, so now it's definitely green. This arrow is pointing at... Oh, sorry, that arrow was already pointing at something, so it's definitely green. So we've got all of that. Yeah, this number is going to be huge because this number is going to be either 6, 7, or this number can only be 6 or 7 because we know there are 3 boxes in the row. And so because there are 3 boxes in the row, and we can only sort of hide 3 cells from this arrow, that means this number is going to be at least 6. So this number is a 6 or a 7 for sure. Sayori is really excited by this number. It's at least 4. Sure. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it can only be 4 or 5. So it is actually nicely restricted with this because it gets us a 4 or 5 pair. Very good spot to Sayori there. So that puts some pressure on this Renbon. This Renbon doesn't have a 4 or a 5 on it. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So this number now can only be 1, 2, or 3. And so the things on this Renbon can't get larger than 3. So this is a 0, 1, 2, or 3. I'm writing 0 just to indicate that maybe there's no digit on it at all. Right. This definitely has a digit by geometry, David points out, because otherwise I'd have to fit a 3 by 3 box sort of hanging off the grid. So that's certainly not going to work. So we at least get this much. Oh, yeah, this is also 6, 7, because this cell is geometrically the same place as this one, points out Paul Fly. So this is also 6, 7, because it's going to see all but up to 3 cells in the row. Hey, MusicCuber, hope you're doing well. Can this one actually be 8? This one might actually be 8. It is possible. Because this one couldn't be 8 because there was another cell hiding, but this one can actually be 8. Okay. So this cell is on a Renbon length at most 5. I guess I know this isn't a 3, 6 because it's looking up at a 3, 6. So this is either 1, 2, 4, or 8. And I know this one can't be 1 because 1 is not close enough to 6, 7 to be on a Renbon together. So this is 2, 4, or 8. But this one could be 1 with that being 2, and it could maybe just work. And I don't know that these are all in a box together. So like these could both be 6 in theory. I bet these are both 6. That's going to be my guess. as to what is actually happening here. Xler says it can't be 2 either. Right, because there's a 4, 5 in the row. Right, good eye. Okay, so this can't be 2 either, because if this was 2, I would need both 4 and 5 in this column, and that would break that. That is a great spot. So that's not 2. So this isn't 1. Good. So there's definitely a 4 on it for whatever that is worth. Takes off 1 option from this this arrow. Let's see. Okay, well, this is at most 4. I might as well fill in, and it's at least 2. So this is certainly from 2, 3, 4. Let's see. This digit is at least a 4. But it could be as big as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Could be as big as 8. So this is from 4, 5, 7, 8, I suppose. Let's see, row 6, column 9, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So this can be from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But again, I can't have both 4 and 5 in this column, so it actually is a 5. Because if I make this a 4, I would... Oh, no, sorry. No, this can't be 4, right. Oh, no, but that could be the 4. Darn it, sorry, that's not quite correct. It certainly can't be a 1. And it can't be 4 either. That's true. Because if it was 4, then I need to put a 5 on the Renbon, and I can't because that can't be the 5. So this is 2, 3, or 5 for what it is worth. Okay. Interesting. I'm also going to, by the way, just mark the center cells, just because it's useful to have these at times sort of clearly marked. Let's see. This cell... Oh, I missed one and got an X instead. And then I got an X again. Okay, so Sayori wants us to mark that this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So this is at least a 3. And this is at least a 3. For what it is worth. Why should I ask if it can be 5? This question feels unmotivated to me in 2 different ways because I don't have any reason to ask if it can be a 5, and I also don't have any reason to care if it's a 5. Let's see. The Renbon in bottom of column 9 needs a 5. Does this Renbon need a 5? Oh, row 2, column 9. Okay, that's much better. Okay. I was going to say, like, the fact that this 17 million cells. Okay, yeah, right. Sorry, row 2, column 9 is this cell. So Sayori says if this is a 5, then that certainly breaks this Renbon, because this Renbon will need a 5 because, yeah, that's Bizarro World. But yeah, that's a very cute spot. So if this is a 5, now this can't be 5, but now this Renbon definitely needs a 5 because now there's a 2, 3, and a 6, 7 on it. So in fact, the observation really is, because of having these two cells, the Renbon needs a 5 because either the 5 is here, or if it's not, the Renbon needs a 5 somewhere else. But it's always in this column, and that looks up there. So that's a 4 and that's a 5, which makes that a 4. And now, oh, that's not quite enough to say this Renbon needs a 4, though. It says that's not a 4 at least. Oh, we get a digit dance. That's true, yes. Thank you, Zach. Thank you. So now these dots can't be 1, 2 because of the 1, 2 there. So these are now 3, 6. That knocks out 2 more options over there. Like that. Now this number is pretty big for whatever that is worth. What now? Still keeps being possible that this is 4, 5, 6, and that there's no more cells on this Renbon. Only 4 of these cells, so 2 more of them. I mean, that's basically just a math pesto deconstruction, Isaiah. Seguru deconstructions or something like that. But there are a bunch of different versions of chaos deconstruction puzzles that exist. So if that is what your heart desires, you can definitely have a lot of it. Also, lots of Japanese sums puzzles are basically that. What else? What else? I'm trying to decide if there's any like interesting interplay between the arrows that I am not yet seeing. But it's possible that there is. But if there is, again, I am not seeing it. Maybe, Paul Fly. This doesn't seem impossible to me that you could do that. I think now that you mention it, Sayori, I think I saw a CTC grid that Simon did that was something not too dissimilar to that. It was like a deconstruction with like one little clue in it and a huge negative constraint. Although the one clue might have been an X instead of a black dot or something. Okay, so Vish is pointing out that these two are seeing a lot of the same cells. So this one can be up to 4 less than this one, or vice versa. So this one can never be as large as 8 or 9, because it would imply something about this, because there's only sort of 4 cells that are counted by this one, but not this one. So this is, in fact, only a 5 or a 7. Uh, okay, so Garion is saying if this doesn't have a digit in it, then none of these have digits in them, which means that none of these have digits in them. And now that's a problem for this region, which has now been sort of a 3x3 that's sort of crimped between things. So that is assuredly a digit. Agree. Uh, let's see. Unfortunately, this black dot doesn't seem to interact with anything at all, as things currently sit, even though I keep looking at it as though it's going to help me. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And it's certainly not larger than 5. For whatever that is worth. It's not a 4 because there's a 4 in the column. The world where this is a 1 means this region has to go entirely this way. I don't know that that's useful. Oh, these two numbers have to be pretty close too. I don't think I appreciated that. What's the most these two can differ by? I think the most these two can differ by is 2, isn't it? Because the difference is the difference between the number of cells over here and over here. So the most of these can differ by is 2. So this certainly can't be as... Oh, crap, it can be as small as 3. Okay, so they can differ by at most 2, but unfortunately that doesn't tell me anything. Hey, Sarah, how are you doing? Tragedy. I'm doing well. They can't differ by 3 because their difference is the difference between the number of cells up here and the number of cells down here. And two numbers that are 0, 1, or 2 can't differ by 3. If I have done this math correctly. Yes, and if I take all of one set and none of the other, then that's a difference of 2, and so they differ by at most 2, right? I feel like Vish said the same thing I said in different words. Yeah, the cells with the arrows aren't counted, but that doesn't matter because there's 2 arrows, and both of the arrows see/don't see the other arrow. So the arrows are irrelevant in determining the difference between the 2 cells, right? So the only cells you have to think about are these, but it's the difference, not the sum of the number of those that are included that dictates it. Let's see. Should I be thinking about something crazy like Sudoku in this row? Like this digit can't actually be all that many things, but I don't know that the things that it can be or / can't be are interesting, unfortunately. Uh, uh, And these, this black dot feels like it can still be anything. And there's no rule that Renban have to have more than one cell on them or anything like that, is there? Oh, well, that's not great. I just clicked this. I clicked the LMD page of this puzzle just to see if the rules expanded on it, and the LMD page is currently deactivated, which does not bode well. If I am being honest. Let's see. Yeah, mayhaps there was a little yeah, if so, maybe someone should ping Kurabon and ask if we should not do this. Let's see. I'm willing to give it the old college try for a little bit more before giving up. But yeah, maybe that means there is some sort of rules ambiguity that was not intended to be there. Right. Certainly can't be 1, 2, because that would create a 1, 2, 3, 5 quintuple. Yeah, this 4 arrow looks fairly restricted, Laura points out. But it's a little unclear how. Trying to think about like if I could do anything interesting with these 3 6s and math with the boxes. Not that I can see. This can't actually be 9. Chat tells me. I will believe that. If this were actually to be a 2, then this box would look like this, and this blue box would look like this. I don't know if there's any problem with that, though, but that is that is the world we would live in if that were a 2. Is there some reason this can't be a 7? That would be really helpful. I'm trying to think like that. That would also, of course, require a 6 in the column and a 5 in the column. But I don't see why that would be particularly problematic. Is the problem if these are actually the same region? If these are the same region, this dot would have to be, or would almost have to be 1, 2. It doesn't even quite have to be 1, 2. I don't think. Let's see. Uh, all right. I'm going to take a quick break and I'm going to ping Kuraban and see if Kuraban replies just to see what's up and make sure I am not missing anything. And I'll be back in a moment after I see if Kuraban replies or not, and then we'll attempt to decide from there what to do. But anyway, I'll be back in a moment. right. Well, that was fun. Okay, so it turns out somehow that we'd already done the puzzle previously. If you missed the chat, uh, it was made for my stream 200, and we did it, and we did not get stuck that time. But then Kurabon reposted it with the grid rotated. But then maybe something got miscopied when the grid was rotated or something. I'm not quite sure. So we're gonna do a Fistel puzzle. That's the short version. But anyway, if you want to go back and see that puzzle, fortunately, you've already done it. So if you go to the Zetamath catalog, you can see where we did that before. All right, so let's look at this Fistel puzzle. We need to fill the cells with digits 1 to 8, such that each digit appears exactly once in every row, column, and region. A region is a collection of 8 orthogonally connected cells. Determining the shape of the regions is part of the puzzle. Each region has exactly one clue, which is a small number in the upper left corner of a cell in that region, not necessarily the top left cell. And we want to shade some cells so that no orthogonally neighboring cells are shaded across a region boundary. But all shaded cells within a region are orthogonally connected, and the digits in all shaded cells within a region sum to the region's clue. Link. I bet I can do that. Maybe. Here we go. Control C, Control V, replace pinned message. There we go. And if all of the shaded groups were to fall straight down without changing shape, they must completely fill the bottom half of the grid. Right. Okay. So this is some pencil puzzle genre that I have forgotten the name of. But we can start at least by sort of extrapolating shapes of some of the regions at least a little bit. Oh, it's Stowstone. Oh, funnily enough, it is the name of the thing. Okay, so honestly, the Stowstone didn't even sound familiar. DWeb points out that everything in this region is shaded, so these are certainly both shaded. If all the groups were to fall down straight down without changing shape, we must completely fill the bottom half of the grid. So in other words, I mean, among many other things, that means that there have to be 4 unshaded cells in here, in every column as well. Let's see. Oh, right. There's a across borders thing. What was the across borders thing? No orthogonally neighboring cells are shaded across a region boundary. Okay, so these are unshaded because of that rule. Okay, so this digit can only be a 1, 2, or a 3 because this region doesn't get very many unshaded cells because the shaded cells in this region sum to so much. So we've got that. Let's see. What else can we do? The most difficult Tetris ever. It's only 4 stars on LMD, but I have gotten bit before because I think what happens is when Simon does a puzzle, then everyone goes and enters the solution and says it's 1-star difficulty. And so then the difficulty gets misregistered. I actually wasn't sure if CTC had done this one because this one only has 500 something solves. And most of the times when CTC does something, it ends up with like 3,000 solves. So like there was a Jay Dyer puzzle I wanted to do, but that did not sort of work out. Yeah, so let's see. So we do know that in every column there's 4 shaded and 4 unshaded cells. And both of these regions have an awful lot of shaded cells, so they certainly need to get out, because this one has 8 shaded cells. And this one has either 6 or 7 shaded cells. So that means, like, together, these two regions have at a minimum 14 shaded cells, which means they have to go all the way at least over to column 4. I don't quite see what to do with that, though. There's also some, like, geometric issues. Like, can this region possibly go down? No, right? Oh, maybe. If this region goes down, it forces this region out around like this. And then, of course, these become a 1-2 pair. That breaks Tetris. The other one had an extra arrow. Are you saying the Kurobon puzzle, there was an arrow that was missed in the copying? And there's no prohibition against unshaded across a border, right? Unshaded across a border, I think, is okay. We digit danced on the missing arrow. Oops. That explains a lot. Yeah, just not shaded. If you have 2 shaded above row 4 in column 1, you need the same in column 2. Why? Maybe my brain isn't picturing this sort of falling thing right, but I don't see why that's true. So row 2, column 1 is the top. Look at the example. So you're saying if the 36 doesn't take this, right? Okay, I can now visualize this. So if the 36 region does not take this cell, then this cell is unshaded and it looks like this, and there's now certainly a gap of 2, and there aren't 2 shaded cells to fill it for sure, because this would be unshaded by definition. So what you're saying is this is definitely shaded and definitely part of the 36 region, which means that this region extends over here, which means that this region extends across here. Right. And so now this needs to be shaded because we need to fill in this hole. Right. Okay. And all the shaded things within one region are connected. So that's certainly shaded, and that's certainly... oh, maybe... sorry, these 2 could be the only 2 shaded ones. But that means this is certainly unshaded, which means this is a 1-2. But actually it's a 2. And we get to bring out Zach for the 2 dance. Ba-doop-ba-doop. Dooka, dooka, dooka. Ba-doop-ba-doop. Dooka, dooka, dooka. Ba-doop-ba-doop. Dooka, dooka. Woohoo! Woohoo! Waha! Thank you, Zach. Thank you. So that is a 1. It could be that these are the only shaded cells in this region. The rest of the 33 is definitely gray, so the 33 can't take this cell. So I know that that is not part of the 33. Okay, so this is part of the 33, because that can't be, which now means that's unshaded. Like that. And now it means that this region continues over to here, and so this is unshaded unshaded, wrong shading, uh, as well. So we've got that. I think Emma is behind. Because Emma is giving me the description of the step we just did. Let's see. So yeah, so these are of course 5, 8, or 6, 7. For what it is worth. Internet failed as you hit send. Okay, so Emma was live, but there was a lag in the internet with the sending it. Got it. Okay. If this is unshaded, it breaks falling. Right. If this is unshaded, assuredly, then when we have everything fall down, this falls on something, and now we don't have the we don't have a piece to fill it in. So this is shaded. Oh, and the fact that it's shaded now means I have a shaded next to a shaded, which means that these two are connected. Now this region can't go down because it would be a shaded next to a shaded. So we don't do that. And this region can't go over because it would be a shaded next to a shaded. So this is unshaded. And this region continues here. So this region continues across the top like that. Okay. Now, oh yes, and all of this, I know this is still in this region. Okay. Trying to parse out what's happening with the various other clues down here. Does that matter anymore, Vish? Now that the 33 clue has beeline straight over into column 5, I think that pressure has gone. Is it a problem if the 13 region goes down and this is forced to go down, down? It doesn't look great, but I'm not 100% sure. No, it does break. It does break, right? No, maybe not. I'm trying to think it breaks because of the falling thing, but I don't think that's how falling works. Uh, 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 oh, I can. Oh, I do have row column labels on. They just don't work. Right. Okay. This is definitely unshaded. I definitely agree with Garion about that because the 33 region is going to touch one of these two cells, and regardless, this is going to be unshaded. I agree with that. Okay, and we know we've got half of the shaded cells in each of these columns. So people's point about the 36 region, but I have not yet understood why it's useful, but people's point about the 36 region is if at any point the 36 region enters column 4, I now know these two shaded cells are going to fall past this cell, which they can't. These cells can't fall past where this cell falls, or I have some empty stuff in the top. So 36 doesn't leave column 3. And so there's 4 more shaded cells there from the 36. This all feels like saying things that are true, but that don't help at the moment. Let's see. The 33 clue can't take both of these, right? I think that is also true to say. The 36 can never reach row 6. That's probably true. Yeah, the 36 assuredly can't be 5 cells high. Right. If it reached row 6, that would assuredly make it 5 cells high, and that's not going to work because it needs to fall entirely into the bottom 4 cells. So the 36 lives entirely in these cells, I suppose, not that one. So 4 of these cells are part of the 36 region, I guess, is the point that Martin and Vish are driving at. So if not this cell now, then the others are, and now there's a hole that is just completely impossible. So that's definitely part of the 36 region. And so we've got those. Not this one would create a different kind of hole that's also a problem. Because it would look like this, but now there's no way I can Tetris something into that place. So now that one is in. And I know this again does not extend over to here, and so I know that's green. And now now we still need 2 of these 3 remaining pieces. Column 4 does still need 3 more grays. I agree with that. I know one of these 2 is a 1, just Sudoku logically, because the 36 region needs a 1, and it's got to be in one of those 2 spots. Would be great if I knew this wasn't a 1, then that would have to be a 1 by Sudoku. Uh, uh, oh, yes. If Sven added a drop the shaded cells and see what happens feature, that would be nice. Uh, uh, oh, is it a problem if I shade this cell? Because if I shade that cell, then I shade all of these cells. Uh, I think that breaks because now all of these shaded cells are now in the 22. And now and that's in there. So now the 7 and the 9 have to get out, and they can't because this isn't even a shading thing. This is just a fitting 2 8-cell regions down here. There just aren't 16 cells to fit the regions in. So right. So if that's shaded, it makes that unshaded, makes these 3 shaded, but now they're all in the 22, and now I have a multiple of 16 problem. So that's not shaded. Which means those 2 are shaded, and we have completed our first region. We can unshade the cells adjacent to that. We certainly know these 2 are in the same region. If this cell is shaded, it is the last shaded cell in the column. And so by the 9 regions magic, it would add to 9, which is not possible. So this cell is unshaded. More simply, we have all of the shaded cells in this column. Okay, so the 9 region does not get its shaded cells down here because it would need to be 2 cells. So in fact, the shaded cell over here is in the 7 region. And so the shaded cell in the 7 region must be there and must be a 7. So we have to do that. And then this is unshaded. But I don't know if it's in the 7 region or not. I just know it's unshaded. Okay. Yeah, I was sort of confused by why columns 4 through 8 were the only ones with labels as well, but I try not to ask questions of that sort. Let's see. Does this have to be part of the 9 region? I think so. Yes, this has to be part of the 9 region. If this cell is not part of the 9 region, then the 9 region does this, and now the 7 region crashes into the 22 region. So this is definitely part of the 9 region. And if this is not part of the 9 region, then the 9 region is forced to take this cell, and we have exactly the same problem. So that's also part of the 9 region. Likewise, if this is not part of the 7 region just doesn't have enough cells in it. So that's definitely part of the 7 region, which means it's definitely unshaded because of that. And now that's also part of the 7 region because the 7 region still can't get to 8 cells down here. So this is also unshaded. And this is definitely a border. The 22 region we know comes out at least that far. So we get all of that. Oh, we have 4 unshaded cells in column 4. So the rest of column 4 is shaded. which sounded like the kind of thing that might be useful, but I don't think it was. Uh, uh, these two are in the same region by rules. Or whatever it's worth. Right. They're definitely part of the 9 region because now the fact that these are in the same region means there's no way for the 9 region to avoid taking one of these two because the 9 region needs a gray cell. And it's not getting a gray cells that sum to 9 without taking one of these two. And because they're in the same region, it takes both, which means it also takes that cell. So this is all part of the 9 region. And the 9 region only has one more cell in it. I believe. If this is shaded... Oh, that might work, actually. No, it will not work. If this is shaded, then the falling breaks. Because if this is shaded, now this thing falls on here, but now when the 36 tries to fall... it doesn't fill this cell at all. So this can't be shaded. This is unshaded. I can also mark off this. This piece is definitely part of the border. Oh, so now this is shaded, right? This is now shaded because column 3 still needs the shaded things. And so now this is part of the 22 because, again, the 7 doesn't do the thing, which now means this is also part of the 7. The 22 probably needs more shaded cells. I agree with that. The 7 also just outright needs more cells. So the 7 needs to escape more. Because it's currently at a maximum of that many cells. So this is green. This is gray again for the 22. One, two, three, four, five, six, 7. Okay, the 7 certainly still needs more cells, but we don't know exactly how yet. The 22 can be 3 cells. That's right. Sorry. The 22 can be a 3-cell sum. 8. No, it can't be. 876 is 21. 876 is 21. I did 876 earlier and it was 21, and then I did it again and then it was more. It was 22 or more, and then then it worked out again. It keeps changing what 876 add to. So we'll keep that in mind as we solve the puzzle. Okay. So one of these at least is green. But one of them could be gray. If it's gray, it's part of the 9 region. Oh, no, neither of these can be gray. Neither of these can be gray. If either of these are gray, we break the geometry. Because if either of these are gray, they're part of the 9 and they're the last 9. But then we have a piece land on top of... Oh, no, sorry. This one could be gray. As long as this sort of does that thing. This one can't be gray, though. Because if this is gray, then we have this L landing on top of the table, and that doesn't work. So that's not gray. It's green, and it's not part of the 9 region for sure. Oh, sorry, it can be part of the 9 region, right? Sorry, it doesn't need to not be part of the 9 region because of that. It can be part of the 9 region. I am inventing rules that don't exist in my head. That is why. let's see. If there were a third shaded cell in the 9 region, it would be 2, 3, 4. Is there a Sudoku problem with it being 2, 3, 4? Let's see. Paulfly says these can't both be shaded. I don't understand why this is a problem. Oh, it's a problem because where on earth do these cells go? I see. Because if these are both shaded, now the point is these two cells, they can't be part of the 33 region, so they both have to be back in the 9, and they can't be. So those aren't both shaded. And if those aren't both shaded, that means that's definitely shaded. And so it is part of the 9. And so the 9 region is done. Those are a 2, 3, 4. That is not a 3. That is green. These are 5, 6, 7, 8. Those aren't 7, of course. The 4 is now definitely part of the 7. And now the 7 region actually still has to continue because it's not done yet, but it finishes there. So we can get rid of that, all cleared up. The 22 region certainly continues, although I don't know if it continues shaded or unshaded. 8654. Is 8654 big enough, or do I need one more shaded because there's a 7 going in the row? Someone can do the math and tell me. Okay, so yeah, one of these two is shaded. Right. If we don't take this cell with the 22, then the 22 takes these cells, and then what on earth is this going with? So the 22 definitely takes that cell. Right. If the 33 assuredly can't go down twice, then the 33 definitely takes that cell. That's another consequence of Paulfly's deduction from before. So that forces that to be green, forces that to be gray again as well. So apologies to Fistel for the boring region. I know how much it sucks when you're trying to make a chaos construction and you end up with a boring region. So we end up with that. Okay. Right. Okay. So, the 3 7s are spoken for. We have like a Zack swordfish on 7s. If you want, between these 3, we've spoken for 3 7s. So the 13 doesn't involve a 7. So it is 5 8. Is Kyle's point, which is pretty nice. Okay. Row 7, column 8. Okay. Yeah, so Sayori's pointing out we can actually push this further. If this region doesn't take that cell, now it can take that cell, but it's not done. It's not enough cells, so it always takes that cell, actually. Now, assuredly, this cell's not shaded, because if this cell was shaded, then my 22 region would have a minimum of 7 shaded cells, and that's too many. So that cell's definitely unshaded. Oh, this column has 2 shaded cells and only 2 cells left, so those two are both shaded. So that is good. Right. This also can't be shaded, Vish points out, because if this was shaded, we would need all of these to be shaded, and the only way to get to 22 in 6 cells would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7, but we could not get to a 7, so this is unshaded. Oh, this column also, we know these need to be shaded. Wait, no, I did that wrong. Sorry. I can't count. There's already 3. One of these two is shaded. These are a shaded, unshaded pair. Yep, I did not count to 2 correctly. I miscounted. This column, though, I counted correctly for what it's worth. Let's see. So I think this cell can't be unshaded, I think. Where are you putting the 4s for column 2 and column 3? Okay, yeah. So the 4s in column 2 and 3, we actually know where one of them has to go, because we can put one of them exactly in this region, so the other one has to go here. That is very clever. So can I get to 18 and 3, I guess is the question. 8, 6, 5 is 19, so... oh, wait, I don't think that works. So if I try and make these 3 sum to 18, the best I could do is 8, 6, 5, but that's 19. But that means if I wanted 18, it would be 8, 6, 4. So that is shaded in order to make this work. And now, oh, I guess I don't yet know whether this is shaded or unshaded, I don't think. Do I know? I don't think I know yet. Yeah, we do have a whole bunch of shaded stuff in this column. So if this is unshaded, for example, then it makes all of these shaded, which puts all of this in the 33 region. So that's not going to work. So so this cell is shaded. If this is unshaded, it still puts all of this there. So this is shaded. This is Vish's point. Let's see. So now this is not part of the 22. Right, because that would certainly involve a discontiguous region now that that's gray. And so that finishes the 22 at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Finishes the 22 like that. Uh, yeah, if this is shaded, then all of this is part of one region. And that region would have to be the 15 region. So these would have to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and that's broken for some reason. That doesn't surprise me that it's broken for some reason, but I don't quite understand why yet. Oh, because then where is the 21? Because the 21 assuredly needs a minimum of 3 shaded cells, and there just aren't 3 shaded cells it could have because the 21 couldn't have that cell, that cell, that cell, or that cell, or that cell, or that cell. Yeah, okay, yeah, so that does not work. So that is assuredly green. I agree. Uh, one of these two is a 7, I know. Uh, if this is unshaded, then it forces shaded for the 33 to finish. Is that a problem? Not immediately, I don't think. Uh, uh, oh, right. Because there's only one more unshaded, right? So, right. So if this is unshaded, these are shaded. Which means that now that cell is unshaded as well because of the shadeds across borders rule, which now forces this to do all kinds of untoward things. So this can't be unshaded. It has to be shaded, is I think what we just proved. These certainly aren't both shaded. And they aren't both unshaded either. So this is one of each and this is one of each for what it's worth. If this was shaded, I would need these two cells to sum to 14. So they would be a 6-8 pair. That seems plausible. Oh, yeah, this certainly can't be shaded because of the fact if this is shaded, that's unshaded, and that never works because of the dropping, right? So this is never shaded. And now because these can't both be shaded because it would break the bejesus out of the 33, that means that's shaded. And so these are 6-8, which makes that the 7 by Sudoku. So that is all well and good. This is a 6 or an 8 for what it is worth. I don't think it can be an 8. Sorry, I don't, it can't be an 8 because there's 3 8s already. Because there's an 8 here, there's an 8 here, and there's an 8 here. So we have another Zach Swordfish on 8s, where we've sort of counted for all the 8s. So that's actually a 6-8-6 going on. Okay. Now this domino can't possibly sum to 15 or to 21 because of the 6 and 8 being gone. So it must grow, which now makes that green, which makes it not part of the 33, which I realize I have been doing a very poor job of keeping track of. Not part of the 33. Now, these have to be kept apart because if I join them, all hell breaks loose. So I have to keep them separated. This has to be gray because I need an extra gray in the column. I'm not done yet. So now this region is done, I believe. Yep. So now that's green. So now that's gray. And so we have our region building and we have our shading done, but not our region building. The 21 assuredly grabs this because the 21 can't connect out of it. So if we grab all of those, and now these can't connect to the 15, that can't connect to the 15. This is now all connected to the 15, so that's connected to the 15. That is 8 cells. Sorry. And I counted and it was 7 cells, and I needed to decide which one, but the 21 is already done. So that's all well and good. So this is 6, 7, 8. Being told the 15 sum is 3, 5, 7 because it's either 4, 5, 6, which it isn't, or it needs a high digit, a middle digit, and a low digit. So the high digit has to be 7. And then so I need a 7, and then I need 2 digits that sum to 8, which can't be 1, 7 or 2, 6. So they have to be 3, 5. I will agree with that. So this is a triple. In fact, these are a 1, 2 pair just for the column. And now this is whatever the other thing is. I think it's a 4. For the record. Let's see. Okay. Yeah, we've got the 7, 6 there. Yeah, it's kind of amazing this is going to resolve from here, isn't it? Yeah, it doesn't look great, if I'm being honest, for the resolution of this. So Kyle is counting 3s in this region and seeing that there is 1, 3. Those aren't 3. Those aren't 3. So there are 2 3s left to fit, and so that means that's always a 3 in order to fit the 3s in, is Kyle's point. And one of these 2 is also a 3. I know one of these 2 is a 3. Yeah, 5 8s are assuredly all eaten up in these columns. So there's a 5 and an 8 over here somewhere. Also a 1, actually. Yeah, so just by Sudoku, 1 is ruled out of those cells. So these are 1, 5, and 8. Oops. And so therefore these are 3 in the other one. 2, I believe. 3 and 2. And so that's the 3, that's the 2. So there's a 2 over here somewhere now. Not there, of course. So these are a 1, 2 pair now, just in the column. Is what I have stumbled my way into. So this is the last 5, 6, 8. Which means this is a 5, 6, 8 because those are the same digit. That 5, 6, 8. Oh, I was going to say it had to go there, but it doesn't have to. Okay, that's a smart spot from Sayori. Where's the 6, 7, 8 in row 3? The only cells in row 3 that can be 6, 7, or 8 are these. So this is not a 5. And these are 6, 7, 8. That one's not a 6, but that, remember, is the same as that, so that's not a 5 either. So that's actually a 6, 7, 8 triple. So these are a 4, 5, sorry, a 3, 4, 5 triple, which makes that a 5. Makes that an 8 and a 5. Is that not a 5, not an 8, not an 8, not 5s, not 5s. Okay. Now there's a 1-2 pair in this row, so these two are a hidden 1-2 pair in this region. And now these are a 4 and a 5 in this region. And now this is not a 5, so now this digit does go here, people point out. So we can sort of, if you want to play the catch-up game, which who wouldn't, you can catch up all around those areas. So the 9 region. Oh, the 9 region. There we go. Okay, got it. Right. So yes, so ketchup now in this region actually goes there, and that tells us that ketchup is 6. Got it. Okay. I understand. That is very cool. So yeah, our ketchuping actually paid off. Some of us catch up just for the love of the ketchup, I suppose. So that is a 6. Can do that. No 6 there. That 7, 8 looks down. Those are a 5, 8, no 7. It'll be the title of my autobiography. Let's see. Let's see. Six in row 1. Yes, there's only one more 6 in the grid, and it goes there. So now maybe I should just write in what these can be. A whole bunch of things, at least naively. Except this one I know is not a 4, because I know this one has to go there. So we can, we can re-ketchup like that. And also those are a 1-2 pair, or sorry, so now those are a 1-2 pair. So now those are not 1-2. Oh, and there's a 7-8 pair looking up, so that gives us the 4 and the 7 and the 5 and the 4. And the 1, that's now a 4 because of the 2-3 pair. That's a 1 and a 2. It's a 3 and a 2. 4, 3, 2, 1. 7, 5, 3. 8, 7. 8, 5. 2, 2, 1. More ketchup power. I will ask for Mark's help once again. 4, 1, 8. 3, 5, 8, 7. 5, 8, 5, 1, 2, 3. That was very lovely. I quite enjoyed that puzzle. That was a neat. That was a neat one. Not that it is any surprise to get a neat puzzle out of Fistel. Now we just need to press the button to make all the Tetris pieces go whoosh. I wonder if you could make a puzzle where also you still needed to have the digits once per row and column after the fall happened. Or sorry, once per row after the fall happened. Probably not. I'm guessing that would be too restrictive. But unknown. Maybe it would be possible with a lot of effort. Alrighty. Well, that is going to do it for stream today. But thank you to everyone for hanging out. Do look forward to my next puzzle. So if you were not around earlier on stream on Friday, we set a puzzle, and it has been through testing now, so it's going to get posted shortly. So you can look forward to that if you've not done it yet. I think it is a good one. I think it is a good time, and I think if you're into that kind of thing, you will enjoy it. It will probably get posted at 5 stars, but it's a low 5-star or a high 4-star difficulty, I think. Maybe I should just look at Double Dip and see what Double Dip is listed as. Because whatever Double Dip is at, this is probably about the same. Because that was my other J. Dyer deconstruction puzzle. Let's see. Double Dip is listed at 4 stars for what it's worth. So maybe I'll list this at 4 stars. But anyway. Thank you to everyone for hanging out. Thanks to everyone who supports the stream. If you want to support the stream, please do so. We do greatly appreciate it. You can do that by clicking the join button down below. If you can't afford it or don't want to or whatever, no pressure. We're happy to have you here regardless. But if you want to, we do very much appreciate it. It helps me get plants for my garden. So what more could you want? But anyway, last but not least, I'd like to thank the Turbines, Daniel, Danita, David, Franco, Nell, Nordy, Plonktime, and DDX. Thanks for the donation earlier, by the way, DDX. Greatly appreciated. So anyway, that is all for now. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you all next time. Bye for now.